Alright, this is Alpane, and this is the first battle that I will be uploading to YouTube. It is a random matchup 6-on-6 triples battle, and it's a lot of fun. So, first off, I'll just show you my team. This is Jabber the Paris, mostly for support and dry skin abuse in the rain. Next up is Tentacles the Ferrothorn, who is my Curse physical sweeper with iron barbs and rocky helmet to get extra damage on contact move attackers. Next up is Squiggly, the Reuniclus with Magic Guard and a Life Orb for a lot of damage. This is my main special sweeper and will set up trick rooms. Here's Belly the Polytoad with Drizzle to set up Rain, Bright Powder, and Protect to survive a little bit longer, and then Psychic, Ice Beam, and Surf for a little bit of extra damage and for healing Paris up. Here is Kira, the Weezing, with Black Sludge for healing, Levitate to shut down Earthquake teams, and then just moves to cripple the other team and get some extra damage in. Now for another one of my favorites, Pinky the Slowbro, with Leftovers and Regenerator to really stay in the game longer. This is my main Trick Roomer and a really good special attacker. So now, let's dive right into the battle. So Gara leads off with Politoed, Kingdra, and Ludicolo, while I lead off with my own Politoed, Slowbro, and Reuniclus. My goal here is to just set up Trick Room first turn and get rid of any major threats that I can. So, their Politoed sets up Drizzle, and the Kingdra immediately goes for Protect, which is unfortunate. Ludicolo hits Slowbro with an Energy Ball and does a good amount of damage, but doesn't take her out, still with the special defense drop. So, it's not looking great for me. Gara's Politoed goes for the Surf, which does not hit Kingdra, but still, Slowbro survives and Reuniclus takes very little damage. Now, Politoed goes for the Psychic on Ludicolo, which does a tiny bit of damage, and Reuniclus manages to set up a Trick Room, which means that slower Pokemon will go first. Slowbro heals a little bit with Leftovers, and now at the beginning of this turn, he will be subbed out to activate Regenerator, and I can get Paris out there, who is so hilarious in the rain. Reuniclus uses 100% accuracy Thunder to just get that Politoed out of there, but doesn't quite make it. My Politoed uses Surf, which hits Ludicolo and Kingdra for not a whole lot of damage, even with that crit. Politoed, their Politoed, uses Hypnosis, but misses, so it's fine. Here, Ludicolo goes for the Energy Ball on Politoed and does slightly under half, because just a lot of great bulk. Here, Kingdra Dragon pulses my Paris, and it does a decent amount, but Paris will recover a good amount of that with Dry Skin, and then just put it to sleep with Spore. 100% accuracy. Just so funny that people get wrecked by this Pokemon. Reuniclus will Psyshock to finish off that pesky little Politoed, and right now it is 6-5. My own Politoed goes for another Psychic on Ludicolo, once again hoping for the special defense drop, but does not get it. Ludicolo goes for another Energy Ball on my Politoed, but fortunately does not KO. Kingdra is fast asleep. Paris will heal a little bit with the Dry Skin, and Gara will send out Dugtrio. So here I know Dugtrio is going to try and Sucker Punch, so I have a plan for that. Ludicolo protects. Paris uses Rage Powder, which draws in all enemy moves. So Dugtrio will try to Sucker Punch Paris instead of Reuniclus, but it'll fail because Paris has already moved. Now Reuniclus is free to go for the Psyshock, which will knock Dugtrio down to its Focus Sash at 1 hit point. Ludicolo protected, so Politoed's Psychic will not land, and Kingdra is still fast asleep. Paris recovers a little bit of hit points, and we are getting back up. Here, Dugtrio protects for its first turn. Paris uses Leech Seed on Kingdra but misses. Reuniclus uses Psyshock, but Dugtrio protected. Really, the only thing that happens this turn is Politoed Ice Beams Ludicolo, and Ludicolo knocks it out with an Energy Ball. So this is not looking fantastic for me, but I can deal. One bad turn won't hurt that bad. And Paris is almost up to full, but my Trick Room runs out, and that is not good. So I send out Wheezing just to kind of finish off this little Ludicolo. Dugtrio protects for the second turn, which is a 50% chance of happening. Paris uses Rage Powder just to protect Reuniclus while it Trick Rooms, but Kingdra wakes up and Ice Beams, which is super effective and nearly knocks Paris out, but then Ludicolo will also Ice Beam, and that'll finish Paris off. Paris did not get to shine that much in this battle, but just think about how much that one Spore helped. Now Wheezing will clear Smog, and Ludicolo is out of there, and Reuniclus will Trick Room to finish up this turn. So, I send out my Slowbro, which now has about half health with the Regenerator boost, and they send out a Milotic. So, Dugtrio Sucker Punches the Reuniclus, but fortunately I live that with a small amount of hit points. Reuniclus manages to get a Psyshock off on Kingdra and nearly knocks it out, but its Citra Berry activates and it's still around. Slowbro manages to get a Psyshock off and finish off Dugtrio. Now, I misplayed here. I was supposed to use a Venoshock, but instead I used Toxic on Kingdra, which unfortunately means it will not faint this turn. And Milotic goes for the same move, Toxic on Slowbro, which is unfortunate, but I can handle. Here, Kingdra Dragon Pulses, and Slowbro does live with a tiny bit of hit points, but I'm thinking I probably need to switch out again to get some more hit points back. Poison damage, and Gara sends out Scizor, which is a big threat in just about any metagame. So I call Slowbro back and send out Ferrothorn, predicting a combat or contact move from the Scizor, who actually protects. So Reuniclus uses Thunder just to get some extra damage in, but does not work. Wheezing this turn manages to go for the Venoshock and knock out Kingdra, which is also a very big threat, especially in the rain. Here, Milotic uses Toxic, but it can't poison any of the Pokemon that it can reach, so whatever. Next turn, Scizor Bullet Punches Reuniclus, knocking it out, and loses a little bit of hit points to Life Orb. Ferrothorn uses Power Whip, but misses, and then Wheezing uses Will-O-Wisp, but misses. Here, Milotic uses Scald and burns my physical attacker. This was just a bad turn for me. So much hacks. But, whatever. So I send out Slowbro, and I'm once again at about half health, and Scizor protects probably just to get some residual damage up. But Ferrothorn Leech Seeds, which is really good, especially because I can't get as much damage with the Power Whip, and I'm losing damage from this burn. Wheezing and Slowbro's attacks both do nothing because of Scizor's Protect, and this time Milotic actually manages to Scald Wheezing and not Ferrothorn, but it doesn't do too much. Here we've just got some healing and residual damage going on. Still going on. And my Trick Room wears off. So, Milotic scalds Ferrothorn. I was expecting it to actually scald Wheezing and knock her out, and then Scizor uses X-Scissor, but for some reason attacks Wheezing. I think that was a misplay. And so I just went for the Will-O-Wisp thinking maybe this will hit, but I didn't expect Wheezing to actually live this entire time, so Slowbro actually uses Surf, which is rain boosted and stab and really powerful, but knocks Wheezing out along with hitting Scizor for some much needed damage. It does barely survive, but that's fine. Here Ferrothorn will use Power Whip on Milotic and get some good damage, but not quite half, and not as much as I would like. Milotic restores hit points with leftovers, as does Slowbro, but is then hurt by Leech Seed. Then we've got Toxic damage on Slowbro in a second, which is a little bit more than last turn, but still not too bad. Scizor is knocked out by burn damage, which is great, and Ferrothorn is hurt by her burn. Now, Milotic uses Recover, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, I cannot do enough damage on this with Ferrothorn to actually knock it out if it's just going to recover every turn and stall me out. But Ferrothorn uses Power Whip, and it's going, and it's going, and it keeps going, and I got a critical hit, knocking it down to very little hit points. Slowbro uses Trick Room, but that doesn't really matter anymore, and Slowbro and Milotic both heal a little bit with leftovers, but it is ultimately not enough, and the rest of Milotic's health is sapped by Leech Seed, and that is game. So I hope you guys enjoyed that battle. There are hopefully more to come, but feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.